Today I wanted to talk about the idea of the hard truths about freedom, justice, and the walk-away life. This is one of the dirty little secrets that people don't want to tell you when they say, just run away and you will be free. Not exactly. So we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to see you on the other side. So I wanted to try to do this outside because there's no wind. So as usual, the minute I step outside with the camera, the wind picks up. But we're going to try it. If you're seeing this version, you're getting it real. So what I wanted to talk about today is this idea of if you run away, which I like to talk about, although I've changed that to my walk away life, somehow that you're going to be free. And that isn't exactly the way it works. You've seen my videos where I talk a lot about getting out of the system. And for me, this idea of being nomadic, of running away, was really me running away from the system. And I needed to do that. I call that my survival road story because in the system, it was killing me. And so the truth is I really did find the peace and the joy of living, and I really found my will to live by running away from the system. But the bottom line is you can't really find true freedom. And that's, I think, a bigger issue and something that I've really been looking at lately in terms of what does it even mean? I think yesterday it was sort of hit me upside the head when, since I have walked out of the system, I have chosen to be as far out as I could possibly get. But I'm at a point now where I want to move back in at some level because I want to make this channel grow. I want the 18 Crossroad website to grow. I want to do things that require me to be in the system. And part of what I saw yesterday was Netflix making $845 million profit and paying zero in taxes, where people like us who are on the fringe and struggling to stay alive, we still have to pay a chunk of our income whether we want to or not, or we go to jail. And there's no justice in that. That exists whether you're in the system or out of the system. So to me, this idea of finding freedom and justice out of the system, it's not really true, and it's not enough. And there's a lot of things about being out of the system that are really hard, that are things that you do that are illegal, and you just hope you don't get caught. So there's pressure around that. So I just think this idea of freedom, which I always think a lot about, you've heard me talk about a lot about that, but I've been looking at it through a different lens. And to me, there's a difference between me finding peace and joy and the will to live, which are really important. And I think that's been the big key, is that you don't have to feel terrible, you don't have to be depressed, you don't have to hate your life, you don't have to wake up every day and just dread it with every fiber of your being, which is the way it was for me. It was just about surviving in the system with no will to live. My survival road story, I like to think of it as the only way I could survive was to check out of the system, and by doing that, I found a will to live. And so that to me was like a big aha moment, that you don't have to feel terrible and you don't have to live in the system because it doesn't work for everybody. And so but I think one of the fantasies is that we're chasing this idea that somehow there's a way to be in this world that doesn't require any work, that we can just party or hang out or travel. But basically, we're still living off of others who are in the system. And there's really no justice in that, right? There's still people who get up and go to work every day and do horrible jobs for very little money, so that a lot of people can be out of the system and call themselves free. But is it freedom when you don't know how to grow your own food? Is it freedom when you're not allowed to grow your own food? Is it freedom in America? You can't put your feet on the ground and stand still legally anywhere. Even if you own your property, they can still come take it away from you if you owe $1. So we aren't free. I think there needs to be a wake-up reality check around that. There's different ways to live both in and out of the system, and that's part of, I think, a personal journey. That's our own road culture story that we have to decide for ourselves. But But I just wanted to throw that out there, that it's kind of a fantasy that if you run away, you're going to be free. Two things. One, you take yourself with you. But the reality is that freedom isn't something that exists, at least in America. I'm not sure about other states. We have the illusion of freedom, but I think we're waking up to the fact that you make a mistake, you don't follow the rules, there are big consequences, and that the people who make the rules, they don't pay those same consequences. And that's not freedom, and that's not justice. And I don't live my life fighting against that. I don't want to put my energy into fighting against that. But I do think we have to have a willingness to look at it and then make choices about it. And that will always be, for me, a way to live as best I can out of the system, but participate enough in it that I can contribute to life itself. Because I don't want to just hide out and party, and which I don't, obviously, you know that. But I saw another article this morning about a guy down in Acapulco who promotes this fantasy freedom life. And it is a fantasy freedom life because he makes money selling people on the fantasy freedom life, which is what a lot of these RV channels do. They only can do it because they make money telling you you should do it. But it isn't that simple, because not all of us make money off our YouTube channels. So it is a reality check. I just wanted to touch base and share that, because I also wanted to see, we are in single digits this morning. I wanted to see if my other camera works. It did not. It shut down in the cold. So this is my, I'm trying to get back to using my new camera. Well, it's a year old. It's not new now. But I'm trying to get back to using it, but it could not withstand the cold. In case you didn't know that, when it's really cold out, your cameras don't want to work. But I think it's our last single-digit morning, hopefully for a while. So we are super happy about that. It's also the last day without a lot of wind for a very long time. I don't see a future forecast date where the wind isn't going to blow day or night. It's that time of year, but in the meantime, we're just going to do one more big, deep breath. I will see you here next time. Thank you for joining me here in what I am now calling, I'm not a nomad, I'm not an RV person. This is my walk-away life, and I am sharing my survival road story.